Completely, this new license will actually completely change the game.
Today we're going to look at setting up person-to-person or person-to-business accounts and companies in Switzerland. So just to get started, is it actually possible to set up one of these companies here in Switzerland?
Yes, alors e-money payment in Switzerland, it's possible, but it's a little bit complicated. The first thing to understand is that what is an e-money business is basically a business which is based on the principle that your client will maintain an electronic balance to use for future payment. Okay. So one of the problems with this business model is the Swiss Bank Act. In Switzerland, only bank can receive deposit from the public.
Yeah.
Okay. There are after a few exceptions. The first exception is a new concept which has been introduced in Swiss law by FINMA in September 2017. It's what we call the sandbox FinTech company. Basically, you can, with a non-regulated company, test a FinTech business model. So you could set up a normal company and test a person-to-person or person-to-business e-money business concept. The limit is you can receive deposit from people, but only up to a float of 1 million Swiss francs. So it's really to test the business concept. Now, if you want to do an actual e-money business concept, you have another exception, which is this, is a company can receive client fund if it's not deemed a deposit or it's not deemed from the public.
So with that in mind, is there an exception that would allow a non-bank to run a person-to-business service?
Alors yes, there is one exception. It's actually Article 5, Paragraph 3, letter E of the Banking Ordinance. And if you fulfill 3 conditions as follow, you can run a person-to-business payment services. The first condition is that the e-money balance must be strictly used for payment of goods and services. The second condition will be that the maximum balance on the account must be 3,000 Swiss francs. Then the third condition is that you cannot receive interest or other financial incentive on this balance. If these 3 conditions are met, you can run a person-to-business e-money business model. Now there is another exception. This exception is if, for example, a company could obtain the sponsoring of a Swiss bank, meaning that the Swiss bank will guarantee the client deposit. But the issue with this is, first, it's difficult to have a bank to agree with this, and secondly, the bank will, of course, want to be remunerated for guaranteeing your client deposit. So it will be costly. So at this stage, those are the 2 exceptions.
You mentioned that 3,000 Swiss franc balance limit. Is that an obstacle for person-to-business business?
But if you want to do a person-to-business payment services, I don't really think this is an issue for 2 reasons. The first reason is what are people using payment application to buy shoes, to buy clothes, to top online subscription, to pay for dinner, Uber, and this kind of thing, buy plane ticket. All those things you can do with a 3,000 balance, okay? One more thing is that you have to consider that worldwide, the average ticket value of e-money payment, it's approximately $50 US. So here again, we are largely within the limit. And the third thing, there is no incentive for people to keep huge amount on e-money account. First, there is no interest to be gotten. And after, there is also one thing, the company go burst, you don't have a guarantee for your balance. Your money is on a bank account, the bank go burst, you have a guarantee of the money on your account.
With that in mind, what about payment services such as PayPal?
For PayPal, the thing is this is with the current legal setup in Switzerland, but for the sandbox testing opportunity, you cannot provide person-to-person payment system like PayPal. Why? Because actually the restriction in the law is that the e-money balance has to be used for the payment of goods and services, which means you cannot transfer to another person, which also means you cannot withdraw cash, and which also means that you cannot transfer the e-money balance to your own account. So the only way you could do a person-to-person business model now in Switzerland would be if you have a Swiss bank sponsoring, as I was mentioning earlier.
Rene, I would assume that most Swiss people already have PayPal accounts. Why can they not do certain things that you're saying there?
Actually, with a PayPal account which you will be opening in Switzerland, you can do all those things. But the thing is that PayPal is not providing these services in Switzerland. In Europe, actually, PayPal has obtained in 2007 a bank license in Luxembourg. The PayPal service account is actually provided by PayPal on a cross-border basis, which is actually fully legal.
Okay, and just finally, will the new FinTech license referred to as light bank license or FinTech license, will this change the game in any way?
Completely, this new license will actually completely change the game. What is this license about? Basically, you will have the possibility to set up a company, paid up a capital of 300,000, and then you will be able to run a FinTech business, like a person-to-person payment, like person-to-business payment. All those restrictions I was mentioning above will not be applicable. The condition will be two. First, you will have to keep a ratio between the capital of the company and the float. Okay, this ratio will have to be 5%. The second condition is, by principle, the float will be limited to 100 million Swiss francs. But if a company reaches this amount, it will be able to ask FINMA whether it can actually increase the float. The third condition will be that you cannot provide interest or monetary incentive to people which open an account with this company. But it will certainly be a game changer, and hopefully it will be applicable before the end of this year.
Interesting. I look forward to seeing how that all plays out. Rene, thank you so much for speaking with us. It's always a pleasure.
It was a pleasure, Jack.
Thank you. And thank you for watching. If you like this interview and would like to see more interviews with Rene, head over to our website, dugoscopy.tv.